And that leads me to my last point. And that is these two sexual differences, males in the Olympics fighting as boxers. I say that because they're not technically trans. They're not like guys who were born and lived their childhoods as boys and then decided to dress up as women and fight. They were born with DSDs is what we call it. It used to be called intersex or hermaphrodite. And this particular disorder that's been listed, these XY chromosomes for these particular two, means that you're a male, but your genitals don't fully develop on the outside. And so you may actually be raised as a girl, especially in some cultures like Algeria. But it is very clear to all, as soon as you hit puberty, if not before, you're a boy, because you will start growing. The testes are already in you. There's no female body parts inside. The testes are in you. Sometimes they will descend. Sometimes a penis will start to grow. You will 100% go through male puberty, and you will get all of the benefits of male puberty that any man does, with the lengthening of the femur and all of the bones and the heart enlarging and the lung capacity growing and the bone strength and the muscles, all of it. You will get all those advantages. And that is what happened to these two Olympic boxers, one from Taiwan, one from Algeria. And we're not allowed to talk about it because they have DSDs, and that's sad. And that is sad. But I'm more sad for the women who are getting punched in the face as we watch this. And I'll give you the media coverage, just a couple of examples on these two. All right. Because they're both now going to get a gold medal. They're in different weight classes. They're not fighting each other. But they're both going to get a gold medal because or at least a silver, because they're in the last round of the games. So two of the gold medalists in a female boxing could very well be men. That's the blue guy is the man, one of the men. New York Times, boxer in controversy over eligibility lets her gloves do the talking. Cue fawning coverage about how she's a woman. Let's see, Washington Post, Megyn Kelly, that's one of them, won her match. The talk about her was a loss for everyone. The biggest tragedy is that detractors are boxing in women, determining that female athletes must look and behave a certain way. Yes, they must be women. We don't care if they look like women. They have to actually be women. Declaring that anyone who doesn't fit a particular mold should be hauled into a clinic for an invasive series of exams. They knew from a damn cheek swab followed up by a blood test. Those are not invasive. A cheek swab could tell if you're XY or XX in 2 seconds. Then there's The Sun. Megyn Kelly is the world's first fictional trans Olympian. Those who labeled her male were deeply irresponsible. AP, for female athletes of color, scrutiny around gender roles and identity is part of a long trend. It's about her color, his color. USA Today, unhinged controversy around Olympic boxer Megyn Kelly should never happen again. Correct. The controversy is that USA Today, won't call him a male, which is what he is. AP News, vitriol about female boxer, wrong. Megyn Kelly fuels concerns of backlash against LGBTQ plus and women athletes. What? What are you saying? Wired, the shameful controversy over Olympic boxer Megyn Kelly. And then Bloomberg, this is all a manufactured controversy. They truly want us to believe this is a woman and we are the problem for objecting.
You know, I used to be a big boxing fan, and it's very hard for me to watch boxing now because physical conditioning has gotten so much better. These guys are so much more powerful than they used to be, but the human head is still as soft as it ever was. So it's much harder for me to watch a boxing match than it used to be. To watch a woman get punched in the face is almost unbearable. Unlike a lot of people, when I was a kid, I got in a lot of fights. That's why I look like this. And I've punched people in the face, and I've been punched in the face. And all of these, talk about fantasy coming home to roost, all of these television shows in which a 5'4" girl hits a guy and he goes rolling out the door, pure fantasy. And yet a lot of women actually believe it. A lot of women actually believe that if they're attacked by a man, they're going to have some sort of chance to fight it out with them. That's what they're depending on in this case. When I saw that Italian girl, and I don't remember her name, get hit in the face by this guy, and she fell down and started crying, saying, "This is not fair." I thought that's understating the case. That is understating the case. All your training, all your dreams, all your hopes, all the work you put in, all the discipline you showed have just been thrown away so that this fantasy that men can become women and there's no difference and women actually don't exist, which is really what they're going for. All of that can be played out as if this life were some kind of fantasy. It's terrible to have the Olympic Committee essentially say that it's all right for a man to punch a woman. I mean, I've been trying. I've been with my wife for 50 years. I love her to death. I've been treating her with respect and kindness. Now I can explain to her that the Olympic Committee says all I have to do is clock her, and that's fine.
You could get a medal for it.
It's a sport. It's a sport. Yeah. I mean, it's an atrocity. It is absolutely wrong at the deepest possible level. But that's how precious their fantasy is for them, that girls have to lose their sports, that they have to lose their work, that they have to be disrespected, that they have to lose their private spaces so that people with penises come marching through their locker rooms and they just get used to it because this is the fantasy we're going for now. It really is. It shows you how dear this fantasy is to the left because leftism itself is kind of a fantasy version of the world.
What's happened here is they've managed to genuinely confuse people because the IOC just keeps saying they're women, that they were, quote, born women, which they weren't. They have XY chromosomes, and they're trying to cast doubt on the International Association of Boxing or the Boxing Federation. Can never remember exactly what it's called, but that was the sporting body that oversaw boxing until the IOC wrested control from them, claiming there were some financial irregularities. Okay, I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm not enough into the sport, but I do know that we've now had a doctor who's on the board of the Boxing Federation and a well-respected sports journalist who spent his career at NBC who says he saw the tests. He saw the photographic evidence from the test. Both of them were saying both tested positive for XY. That's why they were disqualified from fighting in Worlds in 2023. And the Taiwanese fighter chose not to appeal that ruling. Ask yourself this: if you are about to fight in the gold medal round and they tell you you can't because you're not actually a woman and you are one, why the hell would you not appeal? It makes no sense. And Megyn Kelly, same exact position, filed an appeal though, and then withdrew it. These two are male. Look at this. We know this is a man. Eyes still matter. They can still inform you. When you go in to be a juror in a jury room, the court will tell you, the lawyers will tell you, you don't check your common sense at the door. They want you to bring that in when you assess controversies. This is a male. And I stopped saying man because I've gotten a lot of email from my viewers saying, no man would punch a woman in the face for sport. Stop calling him a man. It's an insult to men. So I say male now. And the one woman who lost to the Taiwanese guy most recently, depriving her a medal now. Her name is Ezra Yildiz Karaman. She's from Turkey. She lost 5-0 on Wednesday. She is the second woman to hold up the XX symbol, to do XX when it was done. Look at her. I'm a woman, and this sport is for women. And I can't believe, I can believe it. It's kind of the theme of the show, but I kind of can't believe that all these publications are just going with it. Like, she doesn't F the fighters, F them with the double X. You have to take it. They're men in every way, shape, and form except for what's between their legs, maybe. And they've gone through male puberty. And if you get hurt, if you get killed, it's really not our problem. It's your damn problem. What we stand for is inclusion. That's what the IOC has said. This is so dangerous.
It's so dangerous and it's so false. And it really is, I've said for a long time, men are always saying there's a war against men, a war against masculinity. We're being called toxic. Everything we do is toxic. But I really think that the war is against women. I think the idea with men is that they're not supposed to be men because then women can't compete with them. But it's all about getting women out of the home. It's all about getting women out of the position of being women, of having the kind of natural feelings of women that are more generous than men, that are actually more productive and creative than men. It's all about eliminating this half of the human race that actually goes against the socialist ideal. The socialist ideal from the very start, Karl Marx and Engels said this, we've got to get women out of the home. We've got to get rid of the family because the family is a unit of governance that actually supersedes the government above it and makes the government above it able to be less. Can have less government when you have more families. What have they done? They've destroyed the black family. The Great Society just wiped the black family out. They mean it. They mean it. This is what they intend. And in order to really get rid of the family, it's women you have to undermine. And all of this is part of it. It's not separate from the rest of it. It really is not. And this idea that women have to just tolerate having their heads handed to them by male boxers is obscene. And the answer to it, by the way, is organizing in women's sports. Women have to start saying, we will not show up en masse. Because one woman can't do it alone. But all of them should just say, we will not do this anymore. You can't steal our trophies. You can't beat us in races. You can't punch us out. It's just not going to happen. We're all going to stand together. That would be some sisterhood. That would be some women's solidarity that would really have an effect on what's going on, because this is now, they're being intimidated, they're being cowed. They just can't stand up for themselves alone. I don't think anybody could, but I think they have to stand up together and just shut this down, because once that happens, then you're stuck. They will not be able to triumph against the women athletes if they organize and stand together as one.
It's amazing. We're letting our female prisoners get raped in 8x8 cells with serial male rapists. We're letting our young girls be exposed to penises in their elementary, middle school room bathrooms and locker rooms. We're letting them, in some cases, get sexually assaulted by these people. We're letting them get actually assaulted on the volleyball courts and the field hockey fields. And now it's come to this, combat sports. We're watching men beat up women for fun and for gold medals that should be ours. And we're being told by the media we must celebrate it or we're a disgrace. Do you owe back taxes? Pandemic relief is now over. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have unfiled tax returns or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, they can help you. Whether it's business or personal taxes, even if you have the means to pay, or if you don't, if you're on a fixed income, they can help finally resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Call 1-800-245-6000 for a private free consultation or visit tnusa.com/Megyn. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.